Alright guys, welcome back, and in the last couple videos we're going over attributes that aren't conducive for self-realization, and in this video we're just going to continue that subject a little bit further and investigate more of Western teachings. So this would be Christianity. There's 7 deadly sins. The last video we talked about hindrances and poisons from Buddhism and that crossed over with Vedic teachings. And today let's go visit Christianity and their 7 deadly sins. And we're going to see that there's a lot of connection and crossover, which is very fascinating when I was studying these concepts. So the first one of the 7 deadly sins, they are considered vices and give rise to further wrongdoing and immoral behavior according to Christian teachings. The first one's pride. Pride is regarded as the root of all sins in Christianity, as an excessive sense of self-importance and deep satisfaction in one's achievement. Remember that concept, this self-satisfaction, importance, one's achievement. That one means you're already disconnected from everything else. That already signifies duality, and that is not the reality. That is not the self. The self is non-duality. Pride keeps a person locked in competitiveness and separateness, distancing them from unity and therefore ultimately from self-realization. So this competitiveness is portrayed so much in society. You could see it with the Olympics. You could see it with every sport you watch on TV, with football, with soccer, with anything. You could baseball and hockey, and I said football already, but you know, you get the point. Basketball, that's another one. But all this is embedded into our subconscious. Competitiveness, pride. There's even a whole month dedicated to pride, and ultimately it further disconnects us from the self and self-realization. And so when that is embedded in our subconscious, that's another program, another belief, another layer that needs to be let go, that needs to be shed, that needs to be seen through for what it is, which is false. Everything but the self is false, is not real. Only the self, which does not come and go, is real. Everything else comes and goes, and is not real ultimately. And so if we move on to the second one, would be greed. And this is already, we've talked about this numerous times. Greed. Greed in the Bhagavad Gita is one of the gates to hell, greed. And so if I remember that correctly, it's something like that, right? It's one of the gates or the ways to hell. But greed's so powerful and so alluring for so many people. People are rich, people are wealthy, people are so abundant in some places, and that it just perpetuates itself. They're on that cycle, that hamster wheel, that they think, I need this, I have to get more money, I have to get more of this, I have to buy a car, I have to buy a yacht, I have to buy a house, I have to buy this, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy, then I'll be happy. But it's all fictitious, it's all false, it's all nonsense. Greed's the excessive desire for material possessions, power, food, or sensual pleasures. It can be seen as a form of attachment. Since desire and attachment go hand in hand, greed is also mentioned in Buddhism as one of the 3 poisons, which we talked about. And society perpetually, no, that's not the word. Greed, society perpetuates. That's the correct word. Excuse me. The more I talk, the more I'm getting a little tired. But perpetuates. That's the word I'm looking for. Perpetuates greed. So everything that generally, most things, I can't say everything, because society does perpetuate some good, positive things, but for the most part, it's to keep us disconnected from the self. And number 3 is lust, and that refers to the craving for sensual pleasure, especially sexual desire. In Buddhism, this is considered a form of greed and one of the 3 poisons, not limited only to sexual craving, but extending to excessive desire for anything of the senses. This overlaps with greed. Lust and greed are very similar, but this seems to be more sexual desire when it comes to the deadly sins, and greed can be more of material possessions. But Buddhism, it's more of connected to greed when it comes to excessive desire of the senses, is basically what it's talking about. And you can see this in society, that sexual desire is perpetuated everywhere you look, on TV, on X.com, formerly Twitter. There's so much perpetuation of all this. You have free pornography on the internet, and none of that's free. You think that's free? You're paying energetically. There's energetic cords on a deeper, possibly astral level connection that none of this is free. You're paying for it in some way, shape, or form. And lust is something to, I don't want to say shun away from, but be wary of. Be wary of in this world. Number 4, envy. Envy is the resentment of another person's good fortune or excellence, along with the desire to have it for oneself. In Buddhism, envy parallels the hindrances of ill will. Much of this material overlaps across religions and cultures. Envy can be seen as the opposite of empathetic joy, one of the 4 Brahma Viharas that we talked about earlier. And yeah, envy is very powerful in society. People will see someone's good fortune, they'll feel jealous, they'll feel envious, and that's another sign of one is disconnected from the self. And the opposite of that is empathetic joy, embracing, celebrating someone's good fortune, because ultimately we are each other. We're all same rays from the same sun. We're all same drops from the same ocean. We're all the same. We're all from each other. We're all the self. And so number 5, gluttony, overindulgence, especially with food or drinks, and can be seen as yet another form of greed. It relates to overindulgence in any sensual pleasure. Excess consumption creates greater attachment, agitation, not only biochemically, but also psychologically. For example, drinking alcohol every night slowly builds tolerance until the person needs more and more to achieve the same effect, often leading to physical or mental crisis. As mentioned earlier, it is wise to avoid alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, and other intoxicants, if not all the time, most of the time. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, don't get me wrong. Having those substances on rare occasion is not going to completely hurt self-realization. You have Nisargadatta, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he still smoked cigarettes and he was self-realized. So it's not like you can't be self-realized and do this. It's just, it makes it smoother and easier and more streamlined. All these concepts I talk about are the fastest way up the path, up the mountain to self-realization. Then you'll realize there was never a mountain, there was never any path. You were always self-realized. You just didn't realize it. And so all these concepts, they're not to say don't do them. I'm just saying that the path becomes streamlined, smoother, easier, and is done more quickly because we are out of time. There is no more time. Actually, time doesn't exist. But the time that we have now in the physical body, in the illusory self, we must use it wisely, because at any time, in any moment, we can die tomorrow. Tomorrow, today, now is the only moment that we have that for sure we have exists. And tomorrow is never certain, so realize the self as fast as you can. Whatever you do, do what you have to do to get by in society, to pay the rent, to pay the bills, to put food on the table. But other than that, the main goal should be to realize the self. If not, you could just come back on earth again, and maybe you'll learn about this material, maybe you won't, and you just keep coming back, being recycled over and over and over and over again. But the choice is yours. I'm not here to make it for you. I'm just here to give you the choice. The choice is yours. Number 6 of the 7 deadly sins, we're going to wrath. Wrath refers to anger, fury, and the desire for revenge. This aligns closely with the second of Buddhism's 3 poisons, hatred, as well as the hindrance of ill will. It is remarkable how universal these teachings are across traditions, and that is what I found over and over again. So anger, fury, and the desire for revenge. Always just observe the anger, and you'll realize that it just comes and goes. It's not you. No need to attach to it. When you do feel, or when you observe or feel heightened levels of emotions, it's very easy to attach to it. And the main goal is to not attach to it, just observe it, and eventually it'll go away. You can observe the mind. The mind will amplify when those physiological feelings of increased adrenaline, increased blood flow, all lead to that amplified mind, which actually causes a lot of mental restlessness. Unrestlessness would be a double negative, right? And so, yeah, they're intimately linked. Number 7, sloth. Big one, sloth. We talked about before, sloth and torpor. Sloth is excessive laziness and apathy. It appears again in Buddhism as one of the 5 hindrances and is understood as mental dullness and resistance to wholesome effort. And what is interesting is to observe how they all, the 7 deadly sins correspond to the Buddhist kleshas of hindrances, especially lust, greed, sloth, and gluttony. These teachings clearly overlap across cultures and religions. They offer important qualities to be aware of, traits best not cultivated. Instead, we should work to cultivate the precious jewels of loving kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity, virtues that dissolve the poisons and illuminate the path to self-realization. And I found ultimately that the very foundational core concepts come from the Vedic teachings, and then they spread across the world. That's still what I found with the book when I talk about the historical aspect and nature of self-realization. Know thyself, know yourself. All these concepts come back to those Vedic teachings. And that's it for now. And the next one, we'll talk a little bit more maybe about desire. We'll talk more about brain waves. Maybe we'll talk about all sorts of cool stuff. The book's coming out here next month. Pretty excited about that. Have this last little minor edit to get taken care of, and then it should be good to go and get those out to everyone that's been asking for them. And actually, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this, and have a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next one.